has the time come now for Sadia to you for step of change going forward for the political players in Kenya, especially by President Kenyatta and Raila Odinga and the 14-member committee that they have appointed to look into this matter and come back with recommendations? What do you think is likely going to be the content and going forward? Are those recommendations going to be in support of a referendum which at the moment has picked up across the country?
The referendum committee will be reinventing the wheel.
Okay.
One, I feel it's a waste of taxpayers' money, the referendum committee. There's nothing much they'll do.
Yeah.
And I don't think Kenya needs them. Two, most of these things which are being highlighted that needs referendum and task force committees, they're already things which had been discussed before in the reports which we filed in the archives, and we are not willing to look at them before.
Yeah.
The referendum, if you look at the Constitutional Review Commission of the Constitutional Review Commission report of 2005, they had highlighted all these things and all these strategies. So they'll be reinventing the wheel. They'll be repeating what is there, which had been. It's a PR exercise.
Okay. Okay. So you say there's no need.
Look at its composition.
It's inconsequential.
It's a reward for the friends, the favorites for the politicians.
Okay.
Yes.
So you, by saying so, acknowledge the fact that there are political interests attached to the committee.
It's a PR exercise.
Okay.
Even if it has a political interest, it will not yield much.
Okay. What do you think, in your view, is going to be the likely outcome? Proposal for referendum?
Yes, that's definitely what they're going to do, what they're supposed to do and what they need to do.
That's your question.
But still, I think the referendum committee, even the time when they released the list of the 14 committee members, they more of behave like a tribunal. The reason why the list was released is the reason why most of these tribunals are formed in Kenya. Tribunals in Kenya basically are formed to confuse the people on the hot event of the day. So that you divert your attention from what is happening in the country and you concentrate on this referendum committee. And that is what we are likely to be hoodwinked into. We are going to leave the important issues of the nation and concentrate on this small group which is not totally important and will not help the nation at all. Yes.
Orogo, I'm coming to you. Oyola and Sadia say the committee is irrelevant, it's inconsequential, and the definite outcome is going to be a proposal for referendum because they are supposed to be reporting back to the patrons, Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta. Looking at it from that angle, it seems that the committee will definitely be pulled into different directions about the process that they are going to be coming up with the report and the recommendations. Are they relevant today, tomorrow, or even the years to come?
And yeah, I think I said this she's noticed, it's basically a PR exercise. It's actually a reward of cronies, and probably you're mixing a bit of religious leaders here and there and a bit of retirees to make that composition of that committee. But then at the end of the day, it could be very unfortunate if Kenyans were cheated that this is a team that probably would further the agenda of national reconciliation. But if instead, it has a hidden agenda of a referendum. So I like to actually join what my colleagues say, that at the end of the day, this committee will see no light. There's nothing tangible that is going to come out of this committee, because I personally am opposed to this referendum and very opposed to it from the beginning, because at the end of the day, it has nothing at all to put something for Kenyans, tangible for Kenyans actually to consider, apart from two individuals. And you see, this handshake was about ODM and TNA. I don't know whether it's PNU or TNA. It has nothing at all, because other coalition partners are crying foul, both in Jubilee and both in NASA. And let us call a spade a spade. These was individuals who are coming together to craft something that benefits the two of them. It has nothing at all to do with their followership.
And what do you think that the benefit is going to be?
And probably that is rewarding cronies, maintaining dynasties, and actually holding the country to hostage. This is what this thing, handshake, is all about.
If we allow Oyola to speak, you won't speak.
Sadia, go ahead, please.
Go, just something about the referendum committee members. When you want to hold a referendum, it's a process which is supposed to be exercising democracy, and they should know well about they should be well versed with the constitution and all these things. Look at the history, look at the political, the background of the committee members. What have they ever achieved anything in this nation? I mean, public interest, anything of public interest. They don't have any track record at all. We respect the members of the church who are part of the committee. They've been good to the flock, and that is all.
Okay.
We don't see anything they've done to the public, anything they've done for public interest. We don't see much they did in the Constitutional Review Commission.
So you don't support the
okay,
14 members?
The composition is very questionable.
Before
They should have been-
Hold on. Okay.
Before
continue.
Oyola speaks,
If they-
because he's going to respond, sorry.
Yeah.
This is my advice to the proponents and the antagonists of a referendum. Now, to NASA's end, this is my advice, especially to ODM as a party. For a long time, history has mentioned that this party is driven by individuals. This party is not owned. It is high time. And I would like to say the background of ODM probably where it's drawn in. There is a kingmaker. Please, the kingmaker should actually begin to mentor those who should be taking over from him. To the proponents of the proponents of William Ruto's side, please embrace referendum if it's supposed to be there. You know, I'm speaking and giving a political advice. Embrace that referendum, give it a kiss of death, kill it from within, rock that boat within. But first of all, do not go outside antagonizing the need, because then you'll be seen an enemy of Agenda 4, and that will not tally with you. And then you'll be seen opposing the president, which is not good. So Ruto should actually rally his opponent and stop this kind of defaming the Big Four agenda, defaming the referendum. So these two antagonists. But at the end of the day, it comes to a point where we are all considering that Professor Saitoti said, it comes a time when the interest of a nation is bigger than the interest of an individual. Now I would like to say the individuals. The two President Kibaki, President Uhuru Kenyatta, and Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, SARS, you do not look good to the country.
He's repeating what he had already said initially. You see,
he's no need to repeat.
He's repeating. Let me say something new. It can be very unfortunate if you want to trivialize the committee before we finally assess their work. We should give them time so that we find out exactly what are they doing, what have they come up with, is it viable or not. In fact, it is not good for us to preempt negatively on the. It will not give them a goodwill. They can come with a good thing that we had already given them a bad name. You know, somebody said when I want to kids, watoto wao anaanza kuita mnanuka kama mbuzi, so that finally azikule. So let us allow these people to do their work. We need a referendum. Our constitution, even William Ruto said it, the one who is now against it, he said that there's a section around 20% that is wrong. Now we want to fix that 20%. He should be able to give Kenyans time, because it is a constitutional right that we can change the constitution at the time we want. Sweden did a lot of changes, almost 270-something times, and they have a perfect country. They are doing their things. The country is moving on. There's no crime in referendums. In fact, the kind of presidential system that we have is the presidential system that makes people like my friend Dan here, that every election year, you hear that there are tanks of military going to a particular region. There are body bags going to a particular region. We have people in Kibera who cannot go out. We have people dying in their businesses that get burnt down, because we have a system that the majority takes everything whole. So it becomes a do or die. Either you get it or you die, and you lose all. So we need a system that can bring a lot of harmony in our country. We are still nations in one nation. It is time that we have to recognize that we have minorities in this country. We have majority. So how do we live together? We must be and live up to the name of the Kenya. Kenya is not a democratic country. Kenya is a Republican country. Republicanism and democracy are not the same thing. And that is one thing that our people should know. Republican espouses the principles that, yes, majority can exist. And when you go to an election, yes, they can win, but the minority must be carried along with them. You call them to the table, see how they work together. In the case of Seychelles that she has alluded to, that is republicanism. And Kenya is Republic of Kenya, not democratic of Kenya.